Another year, another E3 that has come and gone. Here I'm going to be talking about the different presentations and what I thought of each one. I made a little list for myself of different highlights so that I don't lose track of anything, and I can discuss everything that I felt, and then hopefully talk with all of you about how you felt as well. So let's get started. One thing that every E3 show seemed to have in common this year was that they all started with musical performances! So I guess I have to do that too now, huh? Damn. What instrument can I whip up in 10 minutes? Don't quit your day job, other me. With that said, let's get started. First up was EA on a Saturday afternoon when most people would not have actually cared to watch them, but here they were. Although it was not what I would call a great presentation overall, it was at least an improvement over last year's, with Andrea Reen as the host, but the whole thing itself still felt pretty boring overall. The first big announcement was that Battlefield 5 will now have a Battle Royale mode. Well, at least they're bringing back destructible environments, right? Oh, and they claim that there's not going to be any kind of loot box system, just paid cosmetics. Obviously, people are watching EA very, very closely right now with their little magnifying glasses, so obviously if anything on that is going to change, you'll all know pretty much immediately after it happens. Respawn's new Star Wars game, which I was very excited to hear about, is going to be called Jedi Fallen Order. It's going to take place between episodes 3 and 4. Interesting. Another game did that once, even though it's not canon anymore. Rest in peace, Force Unleashed. Yes, it will take place between episodes 3 and 4, during the dark times, and is going to be about a surviving Padawan. Interesting premise to speculate on there, though it doesn't really leave us with much beyond that. Boo. Speaking of Star Wars, they decided to add more Clone Wars characters into Star Wars Battlefront 2. Cool. Thumbs up on that. I still don't play the game. I purposely chose not to buy it after some of the previous business strategies of EA, but again, cool. I heard that they actually did a good job doing damage control and fixing all of their mistakes in the past, taking out all of the financial aspects of it so that nobody could pay to win anymore. So yeah, thumbs up all around on that. Next big surprise announcement was Unravel 2. It is not only announced, it is literally available right now, and it has a new co-op mode. I never finished the first Unravel, though I was enjoying everything that I had experienced. It was a very, very emotional feel to it, albeit some frustrating puzzles. But everything else about it, the emotional impact and the music of it all, it was really beautiful. And I had a feeling that the game was going to tug at my heartstrings as it went along, but I just didn't get back to that yet. I'd love to, and I'd love to hear how this new one is too. Really, again, surprised to see it just appear like that. I'll be curious to see what reviews think of it. Next game that was an interesting thing to talk about was Sea of Solitude. It appears to have a pretty interesting premise. It's going to focus on the aspects of actual loneliness and depression, Other than that, it's a little too soon to say how it's actually going to be. They didn't really show us much yet, but I admit I'm interested in this one. It sounds like a good story-focused title, or like it could be, at least, so I'm going to keep my eye on news for that one. So, the last big thing, of course, to talk about, which they saved for the end, was Anthem. I've got to say, I felt a little unenthused after watching this video of it. Still looking forward to the game, but every time I see a presentation on it, something else irks me a little. I'll go into more detail. For starters, I guess I'm feeling really confused about what they're actually trying to tell us about the games at this point. You know, BioWare, in this case, they're speaking of deep personal relationships, but then they say that there's not going to be any romances in the game, and that there will be this strong single-player experience feel, and that you don't have to do it all co-op and everything, but then they say that the whole story is going to mainly focus on things that go on in an in-game hub. It feels like everything they say conflicts with what we're actually witnessing, and that's starting to worry me a little. Obviously, the game looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to play wonderfully, but I just feel like we're going farther and farther away from what makes BioWare games actual BioWare games, and it's starting to concern me a little bit. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about this, and I hope that they prove me wrong. Again, this is another one I'll be keeping a very close eye on. I think a lot of people are after EA's previous backlash with Battlefront 2, and we'll see where we go from here. Overall, EA's performances feel very robotic to me. I feel more like they're talking to me as a business shareholder than they are as an actual consumer, and I think they need to do a better job of learning the difference between the two. The actual announcements and things shown off were fine. It's just, I want to feel like a person and not a number with them, and I still don't personally feel that way yet. This may have actually been one of the worst conferences overall for me, with one small exception that I'll be getting to on day 2. Meantime, now we're up to Microsoft. Microsoft is going to probably be the majority of what I talk about in this video, because there's actually a lot to talk about. So, first of all, overall, I think that they did an excellent presentation this year. This may have actually been one of the best Microsoft E3 presentations I've ever seen, and trust me, I've seen pretty much all of the ones that have ever been shown to the public eye here. They were clearly taking fan feedback very seriously. They were focusing on the types of titles that we actually wanted to see them focus on. They didn't just make it all about multiplayer games and stuff you can do with your friends. Like, no, it was actually a real good variety. So the first thing we started with was a trailer for the new Halo Infinite. Woo! Unfortunately, it was about the most teasery of teaser trailers ever, and we didn't really see any gameplay or even know what type of game it's going to be yet. All we seem to know is that it's taking place during or around the time of the first Halo game. So we'll see what that means soon, I guess. It doesn't appear to be the Halo 6 that some of us may have hoped for, though. After feeling so burned out from Halo 5, they could take their time with that one. They could definitely take their time. Ori and the Blind Forest gets a really well-deserved sequel. The first game was a lot of fun. I played it on PC personally, but it's a wonderful, wonderful game. More platformers, especially 2D platformers in 2018, that's always going to be a good thing in my eyes, and I absolutely hope that this one does well, too. It's well-deserved sequel. Well-deserved. Now we're getting to some of the big guns. Okay, so From Software revealed the newest title that they are working on. It is called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. It really makes me wonder if they heard everyone calling Nioh the Samurai Dark Souls game and then got really personally offended by it and said, screw it, we're going to make our own samurai-focused game, and that'll show them. But either way, the early gameplay footage, assuming that was all real early gameplay footage, it looked great, and I absolutely have faith that From Software will deliver again. kudos to Microsoft for even choosing to show this one off. This is one of those titles I would have usually thought they would avoid talking about in these conferences because it doesn't meet their, the usual multiplayer focus that they've drawn on in the past. So again, really cool to see that in action. Probably one of the bigger moments of their whole conference for me. And then even more big news followed right after that one when Todd Howard of Bethesda actually showed up out of nowhere to give us a quick teaser of Fallout 76. Wow. If there was ever a way to get people interested in the following Bethesda conference, that was it. That was a smart move on both of their ends, especially Bethesda, to get attention and say, yeah, that game that you're excited about, we're going to talk about it later. Very, very smart. Life is Strange is getting its own spin-off game called The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It's a free game, so you pretty much have no reason not to dive back into it, unless you felt like your soul was pretty much destroyed with the last one, though some would agree that that's actually a good thing and a reason to go back because it was done so well. But yeah, the trailer looked really nice and wholesome, so I'm about 110% certain that it's going to be really sad and destroy us all inside. Can't wait! Although it did get delayed again, yes, unfortunately, but not unexpectedly, Crackdown 3 is still looking like a lot of fun, and Terry Crews is still doing a great job of helping to sell it to us. I'm really hoping that this one delivers when we finally see it come out in February. The jumping mechanics look super fun as always, and yeah, just hope it does well. I really do. Second real surprise of the night after Fallout 76, or I guess you could say third since I'm counting Sekiro here, came with the next Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. Wow, never in a million years did I expect to see that, of all games, shown off at an Xbox conference. But here we are. I personally loved the new footage that they showed off, and oh my god, what is going on with Aqua? Someone please send help. But I have a feeling that your typical Xbox gamer might be a little more confused by this one, especially since they've never gotten all of the other Kingdom Hearts games re-released on their platform before. That was always a Sony platform thing for PS3 and PS4. I kind of hope that they do re-release those for Xbox anyway at some point. Now that they're putting 3 out there, people are going to want it. I remember PS3 got a lot of backlash because they didn't have the first Mass Effect out for a long time. Finally, Microsoft decided, okay, we'll put out a big trilogy set with all of them, and everybody was happy. So maybe we'll get a similar reaction to this. Again, wow, though, really, really surprised with Microsoft choosing to go with that. I think that was a risk that paid off, but other people may not. I'd be curious to think what other people feel about that one. Next, they showed off Forza Horizon 4. Yay. No, seriously though, the game actually looks incredible. I'm not personally a fan. It's not my cup of tea. But if realistic racing games are your thing, yeah, this is pretty much up there with the Gran Turismos from Sony's side of things. Well worth playing if you're into that genre. That's the top tier stuff, and that's, rightfully one of their big exclusives. After this, Microsoft made a huge reveal that they actually bought a butt-ton of studios, the most shocking among the list for me and many others being Ninja Theory. Apparently I wasn't the only one really blindsided by this, though, as Ninja Theory immediately put out a video response to the whole thing, explaining their situation and what eventually brought them in with a Microsoft buyout. From what it sounded like, this seemed like it could have been one of the best ways they could go. Microsoft promised them complete creative control, that was their words, complete creative control over their future projects. And if that is really true, and if it means we could still get more awesome games like Hellblade through out into the world, then yeah, I don't really think that there's much to complain about. So as long as that's really true, then sounds great. Best of luck to all of them, as well as the other studios. We got some new gameplay footage of The Division 2, or was it? I don't know. Some people think that the footage was pre-recorded, though who can really tell these days. The real dialogue between the party was... that was pure cringe. That was so cringe-worthy. I'm pretty sure that no one actually talks like that. If you ever hear someone actually say, "Don't aggro them yet," with a straight face. I please show me. I would love to see that. The game itself still looks great, though, obviously. If you liked the first Division, this is going to be more of the same and probably bigger. And I heard that they've actually done a good job of keeping their player base coming back, so if they can keep that going with this sequel as well, cool, thumbs up. People have been comparing them to Destiny a lot, except as more of a success story just because they've been more engaging with players. So yeah, good luck to them. Next, we got to see some gameplay footage for the next Tomb Raider. I've been pretty impressed with this series. Really, from the beginning, this reboot's really been blowing me away, so I'm definitely looking forward to more of this. Lara Croft has kind of become the other Nathan Drake. Maybe gets beat up a little bit more than Nathan, but pretty much earned that moniker. I might not pick this one up right when it releases, but I definitely plan to get it in the future at some point. It really does look incredible. There is a new skating game coming out called Sessions, but because it's not Skate 4, the internet pretty much decided to ignore it. Could be good, I don't know. Maybe it's not Skate 4 good, but then again, I'm not sure how many people really wanted Skate 4, or if that's just, you know, internet trolls being internet trolls, who could say. This next one confused me a lot at first, but it is a biggie, and it is a sequel to one of my favorite franchises, personally. Finally, an official confirmation for Devil May Cry 5. Yes! Game that I feel like I have been waiting forever to see. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure if this was a sequel to DMC at first when I saw the new shots of Nero, because Nero looks more like Dante did in the DMC games than he did Nero in Devil May Cry 4. So that was a little confusing. But that said, it doesn't matter. Despite that little brand of oddness, Jesus, I can't wait to get back into this finally. Nero and Dante are back, and the continuation of my favorite series is finally back. The DMC game was also fine, too. I do think that that's also worth continuing at some point. It was interesting as sort of a reimagining, but man, it's the main series that we're all really interested in, and I for one, cannot wait. And if that didn't get me riled up enough, then we immediately followed it up with a trailer for new Cuphead DLC. Whew. Man, I cannot wait to relive that trauma all over again. Oh god, there's only one platform left. Oh no! I almost had it! Oh! Those were some good times. Seriously though, I am downloading and beating it just like I did the last one. I will probably stream it. Everyone will see me rip my hair out. It will be a good time. It looks amazing, and I absolutely can't wait for more. We now have another Jump game on the horizon, this time titled Jump Force. The trailer showed off Luffy, Naruto, Goku, and villains from all of those previous animes going at it. And apparently Light and Ryuk from Death Note as well. It looks really interesting. If it plays anything like the last Jump game did, which I believe was called J-Star's Victory versus Plus for the PS4 version, I hope that's right, then I'm definitely going to be interested. A lot of them have played in the same style as the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games, because that's a winning formula. You pretty much can't go wrong with it. I know that J-Star's Victory versus Plus didn't do quite as well with the critics, but as a fan of all of these properties, I mean, I'm still interested. I'm still going to check it out anyway, just to keep supporting the franchises. Dying Light 2 got a new gameplay trailer, which is looking much more vast than the first one, with some possible consequences for the choices that you make in the game. I always find those very interesting. I wasn't as obsessed with the original as some people, but it was definitely a great game, and I'm curious to see if they can make it even better with this one. It's another one of those ones I probably won't get right away, but down the line, yeah, I'm absolutely interested in playing it. Oh god, this next one makes me feel real bad for GameStop employees, but there is a new Battletoads on the horizon. Oh man, those employees probably thought they were finally free of getting those phone calls about, do you have Battletoads? Well, now I guess the employees can actually say yes. Yes, we do. Man, did I mention I do not miss working there anymore? Jesus Christ. All that we know about the game so far is that it's going to be a 2.5D type of brawler, again, I guess in the style of the old ones. And, I mean, do you need to know any more than that? You already know, just from what I said, if you're going to be interested in it or not. I probably will, if it's going to have some, fun co-op features or something. That's the kind of game I do like to play with friends. So, depending on the price, yeah, sign me up. Though this game was technically leaked not long before, we did get to see some of Just Cause 4 in action. And wow, that tornado footage was no joke. Ever since Just Cause 2, I feel like this series has really improved itself and become a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to more of that fun parachute shooting action. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Next we saw 2 kinds of awkward Gears of War spin-offs, including a Funko Pop one. No, seriously. But all was forgiven when we got to see some new footage for Gears of War 5 with some cinematics, new gameplay, etc., etc. I'm not gonna lie to you all, I was personally kind of disappointed with Gears 4, not because the gameplay was bad, but because the story was so... I mean, there was so little of story and campaign in the game, and they left you with a cliffhanger arguably worse than the I'm finishing this fight Halo 2 ending. It was that nothing. It was just a whole other level of, wait, seriously? That's it? Wow, the credits are already rolling. Jesus, I paid $60 for this. It was a lot of that. So, hopefully we'll get a lot more out of this new one this time around, and I'm sure multiplayer will be great as always. That's always it's become one of the bigger features of it now than it was when it first started, and they've always hit it out of the park with that. So as long as they can do all that, but not make the single player suffer too, I'll be happy. I mean, I'm gonna get it anyway. I'll be a little critical, but I'm still gonna get it. I still love the series too much not to. And holy wow, there is a new Xbox in development. On one hand, I understand some people feeling surprised over this, as time can certainly fly, but, no, I'm not surprised by this at all. We already know Sony's talking about a PlayStation 5 being in development as well. The amount of years between consoles more or less fits with the previous cycles. If you actually count the number of years, it does fit, no matter how quickly it ran by. And, my wallet was finally starting to feel a false sense of security for 5 seconds. And we all knew that couldn't last, right? Last but not least, Microsoft finished off their show with a trailer for Cyberpunk 2077. First of all, finally, thank you God, woo! I, like many, have had very, very high hopes for this one. There was no gameplay shown off just yet, so let's keep our pants on here. Unfortunately, all we got was some cinematics, but I think just the fact that it even exists and is being shown to be an actual thing coming out sometime in the future has most of us pretty happy at this point. It's the same way that I felt, almost the same way I felt when I first saw the Beyond Good and Evil 2 announcement, and that it was still actually happening. Like, that I almost cried tears of joy when I saw that was still in existence. While this didn't quite get that same feeling from me, because I don't have that kind of sentimentality toward it yet, that was wonderful, and they absolutely made the right choice by focusing on that at the end of the presentation. It's being made by CD Projekt Red, the developers of The Witcher, and if this ends up being like a futuristic Witcher, then hell yeah, I'm on board. Even if it ends up not being that, I have full faith that the developers will pull it out of the park again with this one. This is another one of those groups that knows how to put so much content into their games, even when they don't have super large teams behind them. They're bigger now, which just... That just has me even more excited, because it shows me that they really can just keep going higher and higher, and I cannot wait. Thank you. Again, God, thank you. Yeah, like I started to say before, I really have to hand it to Microsoft on this one. This ended up being one of the best presentations they have ever done. And yes, before anybody says this to me, I'll say it right here. Yes, I am fully aware that almost all of the titles that they showed off are multi-platform in some way or another, and that a lot of them you'll even be able to play on PlayStation 4. I'm going to be getting Kingdom Hearts 3 on PlayStation 4. I'm going to be getting the Cuphead DLC on my PC. Like, I get it. It's all out there in other ways. But what I'm actually talking about here is strictly the presentation itself. How it was, how I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it a lot. Again, they took fan feedback very seriously. They put out a show that just about every type of gamer could appreciate. And just, yeah, kudos to Microsoft on this one and to Phil Spencer. My expectations were really low, and I was very happy to have been proven wrong with this one. A+. And the last group, Bethesda. There were some pretty high expectations this year, especially since the cat was out of the bag that Todd Howard was present. So, how'd they do? Things were off to a bit of a rocky start. It felt like every word coming out of every presenter's mouth was just full of cringeworthy dialogue and not much else. Every time that they were all talking, I felt like, wow, this feels so fake. Can we please just get to the games? So to show off the first game, which was Rage 2, they brought out Andrew WK, who somehow keeps magically appearing in places you would never expect to see him appear. He performed a song on stage before they went on to showcase some new gameplay footage. Look, I have to give the guy credit, to be honest. Everything I hear about him in the outside world in general actually makes him sound like a really awesome person. Did the performance come out of seemingly nowhere? Yes. Did the audience look as confused as we all did watching it? Hilariously, yes. If you go back and watch it, you will see nobody had any idea what was going on. But I don't think that's on Andrew, though. I think it's just the audience understandably had no idea what the hell was going on. As for the game itself, that looks great, actually. Not unique in the slightest bit, but definitely fun. It's another one of those games, like the first one, where I'll probably get it when it goes down in price in the future. But yeah, it definitely looks like it'll still be worth playing, as I still think the first one was too, even though it was flawed. I still enjoyed my time with it. Thankfully, the cringy dialogue did not stop the awesome game reveals from coming. Doom Eternal is on the horizon, and I will gladly hop back into that new universe. For those who don't know me, Doom 2 is actually my favorite first-person shooter of all time. It's the only one I put above everything else, above Half-Life, above Halo, above Perfect Dark, all of it. So, yeah, needless to say, this one has me very, very psyched, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about that one soon. I'm sure that we are going to hear more about it once August hits and we get closer to QuakeCon, so look forward to more news on that one. Oh yeah, Hellbeasts. Prey got some new surprise content. I still never got to play the newest one yet, but that looks like some excellent news for people who thought that they were already done with it. Both free DLC with some new modes. I believe New Game Plus and Survival Mode were announced for that. That's always a damn plus if it's free like that. And some new paid DLC is also coming. But I've been enjoying the whole surprise available now twists that E3s have been throwing out at us lately. I remember that one of the biggest complaints people used to have about E3 was that, you know, everything was always so far ways off that people would say, what's the point of feeling so excited for something I won't get to play for like 2 years from now? And now, there you go. They answered that complaint perfectly, and we're getting all these little surprise nuggets thrown in there. So, plus. Another Wolfenstein game called Wolfenstein Youngblood is now in the works. This time, it'll be starring the twin daughters of BJ and Anya from the last one. I can't say more Wolfenstein is ever a bad thing, and I definitely noticed that they were specifically emphasizing on the kill effing Nazis aspect of it all. I expect more great things from the team, just as they've been doing up until now. The new Wolfensteins are another one I usually wait for a price drop on and then get them after that, but I've been happy with every single one of them. I can't say there was ever an entry where I looked back and said, oh, well, this one's kind of lousy. Never happened. Really, really solid team. Following this, Todd effing Howard finally stepped out onto the stage, thank God. Thank God. And proceeded to basically steal the show after that. Not that it was taking much with the previous presenters. I'm sorry, they just weren't that good. He began by delving right back into Fallout 76, following that small preview that we got at Microsoft's presentation, and gave us some new details. Beyond just what the hell that Country Road song is that's now going to be stuck in our heads forever. The most shocking reveal about the game, especially coming just 1 year after Bethesda's Save Player One campaign, was the fact that it's going to be an online multiplayer-focused title. Now, Todd was very quick to explain that you will be able to play the game single player as well, because he knew that that was the first thing everyone was going to be scared to hell about, so that calmed down what was probably hundreds of thousands of viewers immediately. I do believe the title is still meant to be online only, which is understandably going to be a sore spot for a lot of people, which means that even if you want to play a game single player, you will still have to be online at all times to do it. Probably because of the open world multiplayer focus on the title, though I'm sure they'll tell us more about that as time goes on. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to be as interested in this one this time around. That's not to say I can't get a group together or I don't have any friends or anything like that, but the majority of titles that I do enjoy still tend to focus on single player more, and it's always just been a preference of mine. This appears to be catering to a different base than me, and that's okay. Not everything has to cater to me. Not everything is about me. You know, I'm fine with that. I have a million other titles to catch up on right now. If anything, this is relieving that I can wait for that one to drop in price at some time and then maybe consider it down the line. There was a short mention of an Elder Scrolls mobile game, as if your life wasn't already taken over by Elder Scrolls games in every other facet of your life. It's coming out sometime in the fall for free, so have at it. Next, we received an official announcement and teaser trailer for Starfield. We don't know much about the title yet, other than the fact that it appears to be a sci-fi game. Rumors are speculating that, based on Todd's wording of next gen in the conference, that may have been literal and that we won't actually see this one until the next generation of consoles. That wouldn't be too surprising, honestly, if we really are moving forward within the next couple of years like everyone's hinting at. That sounds like it goes right in line with it. I'm looking forward to hearing more about this one, however. Before the last big announcement, Todd played a funny little joke on us, making up a trailer for another Skyrim re-release, this time on Amazon's Alexa. On top of the self-aware humor in that, the funniest part is that it's actually a real thing. You can actually go to Amazon right now and download it for free. Technically, your Skyrim collection will no longer be complete without it. It's just... it's funny to even mention. Todd also made a joke about their games still having some bugs in them. Wink, wink. Whether that means we'll actually see bug fixes sometime this century is anyone's guess, but at least we know he's aware, I guess. And last but not least, of course, we got one final teaser trailer. It didn't show much, but most people aren't really going to care, because The Elder Scrolls VI is officially in the works! Lord knows when we will actually see it, but it is a thing! It is very much a thing. A thingy thing. And that's all that matters for now. Thing. This is one of those presentations where I end up feeling really torn in the end, because I loved just about every game that they actually showed us, despite finding the actual presentation to be a kind of lackluster. Todd being the sole exception of it, which is good since he took over more of the conference than anybody else. Now, this isn't the first time that you're going to hear me mention that exact scenario either, as I continue with these other videos. It doesn't mean that I think people shouldn't come out of the conference excited for it. I certainly still did, and, you know, you can see why a company like Bethesda is still worthy of even having their own E3 presentation in the first place. All in all, the first day of E3 was still a pretty solid start. You know, minus some general awkwardness from EA and some cringy dialogue from Bethesda, the actual games shown off, very good, especially impressed with Microsoft. And that's going to do it for days 1 and 2. The next video will be focusing on days. Well, we'll see if I can fit all day 3 and 4 together, or day 3. I'll record it all, and we'll see how that goes. See you soon.